story about when I was in grade 8. When I was in grade 8, I was a chubby girl. They had a nickname for me. My name was Connie Chunk. They even had a little song for me. It went, "Everybody Connie Chunk tonight." Anybody remember Wang Chung from the 80s? It was a remix. And I remember feeling really quite out of place in the world because of my weight. Even to this day, being premenopausal, I feel out of place in this world because of my weight. Can you relate to me? Hello, girl. I see you. I see you. I remember going to a hip-hop class when I was 22 years old. And I remember feeling to saying to myself that I wanted to do something that I had never done before and have the courage to step out and try. So I walk into this hip-hop class at age 22 years old, and I remember, loving it. The music was on, and I really liked to groove, and it was fun. But then at the end of the class, we formed this circle. And everybody was going into the middle to dance. Have you ever been? Yes. Some of you are like, I could battle you right now. So there we were in this circle, and it's called a cipher in hip-hop culture. And I remember everybody's going in, and I'm thinking to myself, the last place I want to be is seen in the middle of a circle. Because when you've been bullied and when you've been labeled, you don't want to be the center of attention. You want to be invisible. So I went to the circle because it was positive peer pressure. And I went into the middle, and this was my move. I clenched my hands, and this was it right here. Because I was petrified. All I could think of was how much I wanted to leave and get out of there right away. I went out of the circle, and this girl says to me, "Wow, you are so courageous." And I remember thinking to myself, you don't see the fat girl? You see courage in me? And I remember something snapped for me in my mind in that moment. Somebody saw something different. And it changed the way I saw myself. And I thought, leader. A leader sees what other people don't see. A leader can see into someone's eyes and say, I see greatness when you only see weakness, when you only see limitation. I see something different. And I remember I felt like I was being called forth, and I actually went from there, and I was working with a bunch of youth at risk. There I was in East Vancouver working with drug dealers and gang members. There I am. I don't know if you've stood next to me yet, but I'm only about 5 feet tall. And I started teaching them the hip-hop moves that I was learning, and they'd go, oh, isn't she cute? She's trying to dance. But it connected us. And I remember I actually opened my own hip-hop studio in East Vancouver and started bringing kids in off the street because somebody saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And one thing that I see right now is that we have a world that's very individualistic. We have a world that's all about what am I going to do to build myself up. But I think that a leader, a culture creator, is somebody who goes, how can I see you and how can I build you up? About a few years ago when my oldest son was 8 years old, he's now 16. What all this gray hair is for, friends. It's all natural, but it cost me a ton. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I hear you. When my oldest son was 8 years old, he actually became suicidal. My oldest son. When he was 6, he was diagnosed with anxiety, depression, ADHD, oppositional defiance disorder. And I remember thinking to myself, why is this happening to our home? My husband and I, we've been married almost 25 years. We love Jesus. We are good people. We're educated people. What is going on here? And I remember taking him to the hospital. And when I brought him to the hospital, the psychologist brought me aside. And she says, what does depression look like for your son? And I said, well, I don't know if it's depression, but boy, he sure throws these fits of rage. And he throws things in our house, and he swears, and he yells, and he threatens us. And she said, that's depression. Behavior is communication. And if you look underneath what's going on, you'll actually find the hurt, not the rebellion that you're seeing. And she says, okay, so what do you do when your son is throwing these fits of rage? I said, well, I send him to his room, and I tell him, you can't come out until you're ready to be a good boy. And this is what she said to me. She said, oh no, you never send the hurting away from you. You bring them closer. I'm like, what are you talking about? Just send him to military camp. Somebody pray for him. Somebody help him. Somebody help me, pass me a drink. And I remember going home, we had a medication, we had a counselor, and now I'm like, okay, let's see this magic happen, and it didn't. And I remember that first fit of rage happened again, and I remember thinking to myself, okay, bring him closer. What does that mean? So I went in for the hug. You know exactly what's going to happen, don't you? There's no hugs with prickles, right? And so I learned very quickly, bring him closer. What does that mean? It meant seeing past his behavior. Seeing the hurting boy under the behavior. Seeing him like somebody saw me. But those of you who are moms in the room, that's hard. I could see all the kids I was working with. I could see the people who I was investing in, but my own son, I couldn't see him because all I could see was my own inadequacy as a mom. Everything that he would do, that the behaviors that came out, what it spoke to me as, you suck as a mother. That's what it spoke to me. And so I remember, that whole year, I showed up every day. I just sat there with him. I just sat there with him, and I would say, son, you belong in our home. We love you. Nothing's going to break our connection with you. And then I said these words, I'm not trying to change your behavior. And then I almost, because that's all I wanted to do was change his behavior. But I'll tell you something, a year of just showing up and truly seeing him for what was really going on, which was a hurting boy, sitting with him in his pain, and actually allowing God himself to bring me on his lap, hold me against his chest. And I remember him saying to me, Connie, I don't send you away when you're hurting. I bring you closer. And it's on my chest where you're healed because you find out who you really are. That changed me. I think the person who changed in our home, it wasn't my son, it was me. And now my son is 16 years old, and he's doing really well. It's because, as a mom, I had to walk through and create something. As a leader creates from nothing. And out of the ashes always comes light. Out of the ashes comes something to create, to make the world better. And I think that if we could start with our own homes, I think we're doing a great job. Because before I change the world, my house better be a place of peace and love and comfort and rest where my boys rise up. That's where it starts. And from there, it ripples out. And what I love to do is I love to see people. And so I wanted to do something fun with you. Are you guys open to doing something fun? I believe that we can see one another. One of the areas that I work in is something called interpersonal neurobiology, how attunement rewires our brains. What a beautiful concept. And so what I've done, last night, I had so much fun. My corgis, I have 2 corgis. They were dying to get into these bags. And in these bags are balloons. And what I did was I sat down and I prayed, and I hope that's not offensive to you. I prayed that God would give me some words that would encourage your hearts and that the right person would get the right balloon. So what we're going to do is, there's balloons all over this room. Can you just start standing up and throwing them around? Just toss them around. Make sure they don't hit the ground. Toss those balloons. Here we go. Toss them around. Stand on up. Yep, there you go. He's got it. He's got it. Yep. No balloon on the floor. No balloon on the floor. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. Awesome. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep the balloons going. There you go. Keep them up. Keep them up. Nice. Nice. Awesome. Keep throwing them. Keep throwing them. That's right. That's right. All right. Keep them going. Nice. Nice. Awesome. Here we go. There's a ton over here. There's a ton over here. Okay, are you guys ready? When I count to 3, you're going to take the one that's right in front of you, okay? You ready? All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Grab a balloon. Grab a balloon. Everybody make sure you got one. Okay, so on the balloon, there is a word, an encouraging word. Did you get one? You got one? There's enough even for some of us to have a couple, if somebody's needing some real encouragement. All right, but here's what I want you to do. You could keep this word to yourself, or throughout the day, you might have met somebody. Mine says, your life is worth protecting. That's what mine says. Where is that young man? There you are. Your life is worth protecting. I feel like you need 3 balloons. Maybe the word that you have on your balloon is actually not for you at all. Maybe if you look around the room, maybe it's for the person next to you or somebody that you ate lunch with. I would love for us just to take 2 minutes to walk around the room and look at each other in the eye and see if you could connect deeply with someone else, be the leader, the culture creator that you are, and look someone in the eye and give them a word of encouragement. It might not even be written on a balloon. Maybe it's just coming from your heart. But I do believe, before you do that, I do believe right there's a culture creator inside of you. There's people in the room right here that have solutions in your heart for things that are happening in our world, and we need you. And so if together as a collective today, you can speak life into one another, you never know where that word will go. So that's our next 2 minutes, friends, and then whoever's speaking next,